Right back here tomorrow for more hunting for the killers.
The O'Reilly Factor is on tonight. The signs were there, but the Clinton administration backed away from aggressive action against terrorists. We'll tell you why. And why is President Bush using executive privilege to block Congress from getting information about Mr. Clinton's fundraising and an FBI murder scandal? Also, a top-secret anthrax project in Ohio has drawn the attention of the FBI. We'll fill you in. Caution, you're about to enter a no-spin zone. Factor begins in 90 seconds.
News Live, I'm Kiran Chetri. The Pentagon may be sending more Marines to search for Osama bin Laden in the caves of Tora Bora. Meanwhile, one of the translators who worked on the Osama bin Laden tape says that a more detailed transcript reveals bin Laden actually mentions some of the September 11th hijackers by name. The Pentagon is not commenting on that new translation. 100 days after the September 11th attacks, President Bush is once again targeting terrorist cash flow. The president says he'll cut the financial resources of two more groups he says support terrorist activities. One is a separatist group from Kashmir. The other, a Pakistani charity said to have been helping Osama bin Laden in his bid to get nuclear weapons.
We made the first indictment against the terrorists, those murderers of September the 11th. We and our coalition have done much in the past 100 days. With the help of freedom-loving countries around the world, we will do much more to rid the world of evil and of terrorists.
The White House also saying it may be a week or more before President Bush decides exactly how to tackle the issue of American Taliban fighter John Walker. Mr. Bush says he must hear recommendations before ruling on his fate. That is our update. We'll be back again for you coming up at the bottom of the hour here on Fox.
Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks for watching us tonight. An excellent investigative report in the Washington Post today about President Clinton's policy toward terrorists. That is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. Mr. Clinton told me a couple of weeks ago that he believes he did all he could to combat the threat caused by Osama bin Laden and other terrorists, and indeed, Mr. Clinton almost doubled the amount of money spent on gathering information about terrorists. But according to the Post, when it came time for concrete action against terrorist networks, the Clinton administration shied away. The Treasury Department, for example, declined to track bin Laden's money, citing privacy concerns, if you can believe it. And once again, Janet Reno's incredible incompetence hurt the nation. As Attorney General, she ordered the FBI not to investigate American charities that funnel money to the terrorists for fear that such an investigation would be seen as profiling Islamic charities. Once again, political correctness damages the country. As Talking Points has mentioned before, the incredibly dumb Torricelli principle that prevented CIA station chiefs from paying shady informers was okayed by President Clinton, and that gutted America's street intelligence. All in all, while the Clinton administration recognized the threat caused by bin Laden and other fanatics and was keeping an eye on them, there was no sense of urgency. Clinton Assistant Secretary of State for Counterterrorism Michael Sheehan is quoted by the Post as saying, "It has to be said that it was a collective judgment of the American people, not the Clinton administration, that the impact of terrorism was at a level that was acceptable." Well, after reading that, we immediately called Mr. Sheehan, who declined our invitation to appear, and I think I know why. That is one of the most brainless statements I've ever heard of in my life. The American people are at fault here? Hold it. We don't have top secret information. We can't monitor what the terrorists are doing, and we elect leaders who are supposed to protect us. With all due respect, Mr. Sheehan and the other counterterrorism experts, including President Clinton, are at fault here. They didn't protect America aggressively enough, period. We were attacked several times, and the Clinton administration handled it as a police action, not a national security situation. The president was distracted, of course, by the Lewinsky situation, and was primarily interested in protecting the surging economy. A showdown with Muslim nations would have been very bad for business. In the end, nobody could have predicted 9/11, and nobody is directly at fault. But our government is being strangled by politically correct thought and a general malaise towards solving problems. Many politicians are far more interested in themselves and their power than doing right by us. That's a memo. Now for the top story tonight, evaluating the failure to confront bin Laden and other fanatical thugs. Joining us now from Washington, is Ambassador Dennis Ross, a Middle East envoy under President Clinton and current analyst with the Washington Institute for Near East Policy, and Charles Delfer, a foreign analyst for the Center for Strategic and International Studies. Mr. Ambassador, what say you about the Post piece?
Well, I think the Post piece is an extraordinary piece of investigative journalism, and I think it does reveal a lot of the facts that people have not known, and I have to tell you, including myself. There are many things there that I did not know.
Really? Like what?
Well, for example, I had no idea that we had inserted people into Afghanistan on the ground. I had no idea we put a couple of subs on station. I had no idea that we had, in fact, done a finding so that we could have gone after bin Laden and that we were developing military options to carry that out. I did have an idea about the difficulties in terms of money because I have to tell you that from my own standpoint, I had wanted to find ways to choke off monies to Hamas, and I found that very difficult, and I found the Post piece basically reaffirming that point.
All right, now why did you find it difficult to choke off money to Hamas, which is the terrorist organization in Palestine?
The simple reason was the standard of evidence that I was being told that was required.
By who?
Not by the Treasury Department, but also by the Justice Department, did
Janet
not
Reno.
allow us to do that.
Janet Reno, correct?
Well, both, but not just Justice Department, but also the Treasury Department. In
All
each
right.
case,
well, we
they
know the
found it
Treasury
difficult.
Department didn't want any part of that, which is outrageous. Mr. Delfer, what do you think?
Well, you got to understand, I think one of the things that comes out in that piece is there was a change in thinking going on. And as you said at the top, there was a key thing which was going on. There was a lot of bombs going off, and we had to come to a conclusion that retaliation wasn't the way to go anymore. We couldn't give up the first punch. And I think some of the experts actually, hit on that and said, we've got to think about preemption. We've got to think about getting these guys before they get us. Now, how far up the food chain that got, I'm not so sure.
Well, I
think
had to go to the president's desk.
It
It had, look, you had 4 incidents. You had Saudi Arabia where they killed some of our military people. You had the embassy bombings in Africa. And by the way, I just want to tell everybody, because I didn't know this, the only dissenting voice to retaliatory strikes after the embassies were bombed in Africa, the only one who said no to the cruises that they sent to Afghanistan to try to get bin Laden was Janet Reno. Janet Reno is the only one. I mean, this woman, what a disaster. But go ahead. I mean, you had the four attacks, and then you had the call. President Clinton had to know that these guys were active, that they were training. We knew that from our satellite intelligence, and that they were obviously threats. He had to know.
Yeah, this was a problem that they were managing. It's not a problem they were trying to solve. Again, if you're going to go about preempting, that's a new way of thinking. And you've really got to lead. You've got to convince people that that's the right thing to do.
Why didn't he do it? Why didn't the President Clinton?
Well, it appears there's other things on his agenda. There's a lot of domestic affairs issues, of course.
All right. Now, Mr. Ambassador, Michael Sheehan saying it's the American public's fault because we didn't have an outcry to get bin Laden and these people. Your reaction to that statement?
Well, I don't think that's a statement that makes a lot of sense. I mean, the fact is, if the president was going to try to do what we are now doing, you would have had to change the context. Obviously, the context had to be different. The reality is that President Bush, prior to September 11th, was also not acting. The context changed with September 11th. What President Clinton did do was issue a finding that allowed us to go after bin Laden. What he didn't do was prepare the American public for what might have to be the kind of military action that we're seeing
Yeah, he
today.
didn't sell it. Because it's hard to sell. It was very hard. And I will give President Clinton this. I didn't think he was a strong leader from the word go. I think he managed the economy fine, but I didn't think President Clinton was a strong leader. But pre-9/11, Mr. Delfer, it was almost impossible to rally the world to go after Osama bin Laden. I mean, the world didn't care, even though they was doing these little bombings and this and that. I mean, they hurt us, but they didn't hurt them, so they didn't care.
I'm not sure that's right. I think, it depends on how you play these issues. I mean, the World Trade Center was bombed once before. They were blowing up embassies, and our reaction was to, build bigger walls. I think if we took a different approach at the top and led strongly on that, it might have had a different outcome.
Do you really believe the world would have done that? It would have rallied to our cause? Because I don't. I think Clinton said, look, the economy's great. I don't want to get in a big brawl with the world. We need the oil. Let's just contain it. Mr. Ambassador?
I do think you have a point. I think the critical thing here is having an event that creates such drama that it captures everybody's attention and makes everybody realize that they are threatened. Unfortunately, the previous episodes, the previous events did not do that. It's a sad commentary, but unfortunately you have to see something that has such drama, such moments.
It's a selfish world. It's a selfish world. I'm going to give you the last word, Mr. Delfer, but listen, I wanted stronger leadership. I think Mr. Sheehan is outrageous to blame it on us. I want strong, honest leadership. But I think most politicians are timid. They don't want to rock the boat in any way. Give you the last word.
Well, I think you got to pick your issues, and if you're going to sell out short-term interests for long-term interests, that's the price you're going to pay.
Do you think President Clinton knew that this was going to be a burgeoning threat after he got out of office?
I think he knew it was going to grow, but he had to pick his issues. And I think he put a lot of effort into the peace process with the Israelis and the Palestinians. Did quite well there. Almost got a deal. But he just picked that issue.
Well, I have to defer. I don't think he did quite well, and I think the present day in Palestine shows that. Gentlemen, thank you very much. We appreciate your expertise. Next on the rundown, a top-secret anthrax project in Ohio. We'll tell you about it when we come back.
To a perfect evening.
Was it a steak? No, the champagne's not Corbel.
Corbel, for people who know champagne.
The power of rushing water. Nature cleans the earth with it. Interplaque uses it to clean your mouth. The Interplaque Dental Water Jet washes away particles and plaque brushing can't reach, leaving your mouth clean and fresh as nature intended. Interplaque, the power behind the clean.
Conair brings home the comfort and luxury of the bath spa massaging mat with thousands of warm bubbles to relax you. Experience it. Also from Conair, the foot spa with heat, vibration, and water jets.
Folks ask me, George, how do you stay in such shape? Well, I'm into physical things now, like snowboarding. On the new Xbox from CompUSA. The graphics are so real. It feels like you're part of the action. Woo! Yeah, baby! Yeah. Street. Woo! Wide load coming through. Whew. I need a nap.
CompUSA, where America buys technology. Now, buy the Xbox at CompUSA and get an airline companion ticket free.
I hate thinking about money. So now that my paintings are starting to sell, I'm planning to put mine with Fidelity Investments.
We have something called the Fidelity Funds Manager Program.
Basically, they'll manage a portfolio of mutual funds for me, as according to my goals. If I'm going to let anyone manage my portfolio of mutual funds, it's going to be Fidelity. Let the people who know what they're doing do it.
Leave all the work and the worry to us.
And that's good, because I hate thinking about money.
Fidelity Funds Manager Program. To invest, call, click, or visit Fidelity.
In the Unresolved Problem segment tonight, the anthrax mystery continues. According to ABC News, the FBI believes the anthrax that has killed 5 Americans was developed in the USA, and the feds have questioned some American scientists involved with top-secret anthrax projects. Joining us now from Boston is Gene Gilman, the senior fellow at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology and the author of the book, Anthrax, the Investigation of a Deadly Outbreak. Ms. Gilman, this comes as a complete shock to me. I didn't know there was any anthrax secret project in Ohio, and I guess there are other places in the country as well. Tell us about it.
Well, there are 5 places at least that we know of. One of them is over in the United Kingdom at a place called Porton Down. The other 4 are here in the United States, and it's to those 4 places that the FBI has tracked this very highly weaponized anthrax that we're all very concerned about.
All right, so the FBI has indeed tracked it to these research centers, so there's no possibility that Al-Qaeda could have, funneled it up and brought it in.
We live in a world where anything is possible. We could wake up tomorrow and find out maybe somebody has it over in Afghanistan. I'm never surprised by anything anymore. But I think the line of investigation right now has led back to the U.S. Army, led to Dugway, Utah in particular, and now to Battelle, which is a corporation which was under contract with the CIA to do work with this, again, highly weaponized.
All right, so the FBI has been interviewing disgruntled scientists and people who had maybe a grudge against the USA. That's their tact right now?
That's their profile. That's the profile that they established early on. You have to understand, we've been on this since about October 5th when the first victim died in Florida, so it's been a long and grueling path. But they fairly early on came on with the idea that this was somebody disgruntled. The attacks themselves, the postal attacks, look a lot like the hoaxes. There have been thousands and thousands of hoaxes, and the postal attacks look like the hoaxes, and everybody believes that when you look at the profile of the people who do the hoaxes, that these are really disgruntled people with a lot of anger, and they want to work anonymously, and they want to feel
But if you have a
powerful.
mad scientist out there, I mean, that's really frightening. I mean, somebody who knows how to make this stuff up, and has got maybe a cache of it, and could strike at any time. See, I felt in the beginning that it was an al-Qaeda operation because of the timing of it.
Right. The timing of it looked very suspicious. The Florida locale looked very suspicious. It doesn't seem to be playing out that way. But it's not necessarily true that this person is making it in his garage or something like that. It'd be much more likely that somebody would have taken it from a laboratory where it had been developed.
And stored it somewhere just and could wreak havoc whenever he or she wanted to.
Exactly.
Now, why are we messing with the anthrax to begin with? Why do we have these top secret places where they're making it?
Well, it all goes back to the investment that the United States made in biological weapons during World War II, and then for the next 20 years or so. We took this terrible disease, anthrax, and really perfected it as a weapon. But in 1969, Richard Nixon renounced biological weapons, that is, offensive biological weapons research. But one of the things we've held on to is called defensive biological weapons work, which means that we claim the right to have secret programs which will help us test masks or vaccines or other kinds of protective equipment and filters.
Against somebody. Now, do you believe Saddam Hussein has the anthrax and all this other business over there?
Well, I think that's a really important question, and I know there are people who know much more about it than I do who feel that he has probably developed it,
Okay, so, but in your opinion, I mean, you're being modest, but you're one of the world's experts on this. Do you believe that he has the stuff?
I think there's nothing to keep him from having it. We have no way of getting in there. We have no restraints on that person. We also have no restraints on anybody now, developing nations that would want to get into biological weapons. And unfortunately, these anthrax attacks have given a very good demonstration of how disruptive and destructive
and lethal they are. But it isn't easy to develop anthrax, is it?
It's not that easy, but relative to nuclear weapons, it's more easy than developing nuclear weapons for certain.
All right, Ms. Gilman, thanks very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Directly ahead, conservative Congressman Dan Burton and liberal Congressman Barney Frank actually agree on something. President Bush should not be protecting the FBI and Bill Clinton by using executive privilege. Our report coming your way next. But first, a special hello to our servicemen around the world watching us on the Armed Forces Network.
Merry Christmas, Josh. We love you, and we miss you. We can't wait to see you. I love you, Dad. I love you. I love you, Dad. I love you. I love you, Dad. I love you. Merry Christmas, John. I hope you have a fun Christmas. See you soon. All right. Bye. We love you. Bye. We love you.
This program is brought to you by the Rabbit Corkscrew by Metro Cane.
is experience. This is discipline. This is how investors make it through volatile markets. At Merrill Lynch, we guide our clients through market uncertainty by reassessing their risk, their asset allocation, and their financial goals. This is what a Merrill Lynch financial advisor does. This is what you do. And these are the times when we do it best.
There's still time to pick up a honey-baked ham, even if you haven't ordered ahead. So make your holiday meal a celebration with the original honey-baked ham. You don't have to settle for less. Lean, tender, smoked to perfection, smothered in that famous crackling sweet glaze, nothing tastes as good as the original honey-baked ham. Anything less isn't good enough. At the Honey Baked stores, including the new Washington Square 2 location and kiosks in Clackamas Town Center and Beaverton Mall.
Destination Harley-Davidson and Buell, the area's largest and best-rated dealer, offering the best prices with the largest selection of new and used Harleys in the Northwest, with up to $1,000 to $1,500 cash off the price or toward your down payment or cash back, plus low, low, low interest rates. Destination Harley, located just off Highway 217 at Greenberg Road in Tigard. Ride the American Dream Machine. Experience life on that Harley you've always wanted. Power, freedom, and fun. You're only on this ball of mud once, so ride to enjoy and enjoy the ride. From Destination Harley-Davidson and Buell.
The Impact segment tonight, it's not often you get Dan Burton and Barney Frank to agree on anything, but both congressmen are angry. Now, President Bush has used executive privilege to block a congressional review of documents relating to President Clinton's fundraising tactics and an FBI scandal in Boston. Most of you know about the fundraising. The Boston story concerns two FBI informants who are allowed to commit terrible crimes while on the federal payroll. Joining us now from Washington is Congressman Barney Frank of Massachusetts. To fill people in on the bad guys, I mean, Whitey Bulger, notorious in New England and Boston for being a killer and a dope dealer and everything else, and Flemmy, the rifleman, another assassin. Are you as angry as Congressman Burton that President Bush is not going to let us get to the bottom of this?
I am. I admire Dan Burton's nonpartisan commitment in this. And it's particularly troublesome at this point, Bill, because as you know, we've just been debating the need, given the mass murders that we were victimized by, to give the FBI more powers. And I think every American feels a little conflicted. We need to be protected. And we are giving the FBI, and we have given the FBI, significant new powers of surveillance over individuals, the ability to monitor the Internet, to do more surveillance on phones. And what you would hope would be that at the same time that you gave them the more powers, you could have a high degree of confidence in how they were using them. Unfortunately, there are a series of things that have come out which show the FBI making terrible mistakes, and no institution of human beings is going to be perfect. But what the FBI seems to be arguing is that they're almost uniquely immune from any kind of supervision, and they somehow got the president to buy into this. I would have hoped that maybe this is because he is understandably preoccupied with the Afghanistan situation, but he signed this sweeping order which basically interferes with our ability to find out about really outrageous decisions the FBI made 10 and 15 and 20 years ago.
And here's how outrageous it was. A man named Joseph Salvati spent 30 years in prison for murder he did not commit in Boston, and the FBI knew he was innocent. They knew he was innocent, and they would not give the evidence up to free this man. He's sitting in jail because they didn't want to burn Bulger and Flemmy, who were informing on the mafia, the New England mafia, the Patriarcha family of Providence, Rhode Island. That's what Flemmy and Bulger were doing for the FBI. So they let this guy rot in jail for 30 years. That's outrageous.
It is, and there were other examples of this where we have one case where this one just particularly renewed my sense of just frustrated anger. A man was killed almost certainly by Bulger and Flemmy. It may have been that the FBI tipped him off. It had to do with gun running for the IRA, the Irish Republican Army. And this guy may have thought he was helping law enforcement by giving a tip about Bulger and Flemmy. Instead, the FBI told Bulger and Flemmy, apparently, that's the allegation, and they killed him.
Yeah. I mean,
it now has come out.
The FBI could be implicated in murder itself, right?
Exactly. And the man's widow and family have now sued the federal government and said, look, you caused my husband to be killed. The FBI got the Justice Department to give the most incredible answer. You know what the answer is? You can't sue us because it's too late. This happened too long ago, and your time to bring suit has passed. But they couldn't have brought suit because the FBI was refusing to give them the information.
Yeah, they didn't know.
The FBI had to be forced to give them the information. Now they're playing gotcha with these people.
There's no question that New England FBI scandal is a disgrace. But now we go into President Clinton, who you obviously had a fairly close relationship with and supported. His fundraising tactics, dubious at best. The Burton Committee wanted to see the emails. They wanted to see, who called in, the commerce back and forth. And President Bush has shut all that down. And, I think Americans are going, wait a minute here. We want an honest government. We don't want one powerful person protecting another.
I'll tell you what strikes me, and I think all this information ought to be brought forward. I thought some of it ought to have been brought forward under Clinton. I've run into this before. I ran into it with Clinton about George Bush previously, and now Bush about Clinton. The bureaucracy kind of gets together, and they persuade presidents that it's in their interest to protect the mistakes of former presidents.
That's right.
One of the things that President Bush has now done, which has, again, outraged Dan Burton and me and a lot of others, we passed a law that said the rule will be after 12 years you release presidential documents unless they're in some specific category of, national security, etc. President Bush is now, I think, clearly violating that statute by saying, no, we're not going to release that information. And again, it just has there is this, let's all in the bureaucracy protect each other.
The powerful protect each other. But the Mark Rich part is involved in this President Clinton fundraising deal, because it's part of what Burton wanted to do. See how much money flowed in to President Clinton and his wife from the rich people, the friends, the ex-wife.
There was one issue there where they might have a problem, and that is, as you probably know, there is a grand jury now looking into the Mark Rich situation.
Yes, supposedly.
And it is true. Where there's an ongoing grand jury, then there may be reason for us not go after it, but temporarily withhold. Congress made a mistake a few years ago, for example, with Oliver North and others. Congress tried to run an investigation simultaneously with the prosecution, and the court correctly wound up saying, look, you interfered with these people's constitutional rights. You can't do that. You got to have them done sequentially. But I want to stress again, Bill, we're not just doing this, as you know, because we're kind of interested in finding things out. We are in the process of giving law enforcement in America much more power. We have to do that in our own self-defense. But it is very scary to be told that you have to give them more power, but you cannot have any oversight.
You can't hold them accountable for what they do. You can't hold them accountable. Listen.
And you make them more powerful and less accountable at the same time.
All right, Congressman. Hey, this is the first time I think you and me and Dan Burton have ever agreed on anything.
Well, we'll have to get together again some Christmas.
Yeah, it's probably Christmas that did it. All right, Congressman, happy holidays to you.
Future.
All right, plenty more ahead as the factor moves along this evening. The spin is already in motion regarding American Taliban. John Walker will tell you about that. And who's looking out for us? Once again, Congress letting the country down by failing to pass an economic stimulus package. Whose fault is it? We'll tell you, and we hope you stay tuned for those reports.
I'm here for the install. I'm at your front door, sir.
I'll tell you what, we'll meet you back there sometime between 12 and 5. I always wanted to say that.
The more powerful Acura RL.
You can slow down investing. You can stop investing entirely.
There was one man who had a funny hat.
But you can't stop curious toddlers from one day becoming college freshmen.
And there was a small man that someone put him in a bird cage.
Which is why your Morgan Stanley financial advisor will never let you lose sight of what you're investing for.
And
America trusts America Online to make everything easy.
It's just real simple to keep in touch with AOL.
Oh, I love hearing you've got mail.
Instant messages are so much fun.
And now AOL makes it easier to get health information with WebMD. I discovered WebMD. WebMD is America's leading source of health information online. Communities on everything from diabetes to weight loss.
Love the chat room. A site that I trust.
AOL has got it all. Now's the perfect time to experience America Online. So easy to use, no wonder it's #1. Call 1-800-4ONLINE.
Here's a gift everyone will want to open. The compact Presario 1700T notebook with a laser-sharp screen, hot swappable drives, and a powerful Intel Pentium 3 processor, all tucked in one neat little package, which will be shipped free, courtesy of a couple of reindeer we know. It's just $12.49. So give us a jingle at 1-888-271-1430 to buy now and receive a $50 instant rebate plus free shipping. Hurry while there's still room on the sleigh.
In Afghanistan, but what role should America play? For the information you need, turn to the team you trust. Team Washington, only on the Fox News Channel.
In the Personal Story segment tonight, Fox News has learned that the Justice Department is leaning toward charging American Taliban guy John Walker with providing material support to terrorists and not treason. But is this the right thing to do? Joining us now from Raleigh, North Carolina is former federal prosecutor Eric Mueller, the author of Free to Die for Their Country. Professor Mueller teaches law at the University of North Carolina. So we're getting a kind of a watered-down thing here with this Walker guy. How do you see it, Professor?
Well, that's the way it's looking. That's what the reports are, that they're going to go with providing material support instead of treason. Obviously, the people within the government know a lot more than we do about the facts, and so we're all left to speculate. But it seems to me that there, based on what we do know, there is enough there for a treason prosecution, and in historical context, which is sort of my area of expertise, Japanese-American situation during World War II, I think that this is a much clearer case of treason, actually, than many of the cases that were brought against Japanese Americans during World War II. So I'm a little bit perplexed, actually, Bill, about why this is being handled in the way it's being handled.
Well, all right, but let's examine. You feel that Walker's getting special treatment because he's a son of a prominent Marin County, California guy and all of that?
Well, I don't know that it has a whole lot to do with who his parents are. But it is perplexing to me that people, for example, during World War II, who did nothing more than give a lift and a road map to escaped German POWs, were hauled in and charged with treason if they were Japanese Americans. But now this young white fella comes along, and we hear a fair amount of sympathy and compassion out there that, oh, he was confused, and he was maybe not in his right mind, and he may have been under duress. It does seem inconsistent to me to back off of a treason charge in this setting, where you have somebody seemingly firing weapons alongside troops that had anti-aircraft guns pointed at American B-52s, but you will go for treason against somebody who gives a lift to an escaped German POW.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think it was just Japanese. Anybody who aided a POW in this country during World War II, an escaped POW, escaped German soldier or a spy, would have been charged the same way, right?
Actually, Bill, as it turns out, that's not true. There were lots of people who were involved in, were among groups of people who were providing shelter, homes, support for escaped POWs who were not prosecuted. But when a small group of Japanese American women in Colorado did it in 1943, the government was all over them like a wet blanket.
That's interesting. All right. Now, let's get back to Walker in the sense that I think most Americans don't feel sorry for this guy. I mean, at 16, he went over and he wanted to become some kind of Muslim fighter, fanatic, jihad guy, whatever you want to call it. He himself doesn't really offer any kind of contrition. He's not, he's not sorry for what he did. But you do need two witnesses to convict in on a treason charge, correct?
You do. And Bill, I think that may be the likeliest explanation for why the Justice Department is shying away from a treason charge. But even there, I'm still a little bit perplexed because surely among the many captives who are being held by the American military, Taliban captives,
they could come up with a couple of guys.
There are undoubtedly a couple of people among that group who would be able to testify to what John Walker did
or did not do. Sure. I wouldn't charge him for treason. I just think the guy is probably emotionally not all there, and he doesn't know. But I would put him away for between 10 and 20 years. I'd figure out a charge that was going to give him that kind of time. Well, I wouldn't try him here either. I wouldn't bring him back here. I'd try him with the tribunal overseas.
The charge that's now being circulated, Bill, would carry a punishment in that range under the federal sentencing guidelines. So it may be that the outcome will be to your liking.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair. The guy's 20 years old. He's an idiot, but, why kill him? Why hang him? I don't think I would do that. Anyway, Professor, we appreciate your point of view. Thanks very much for helping us out tonight.
Thank you, Bill.
In a moment, as the factor continues, once again, Congress fails to pass an economic stimulus package. Now, that sounds boring, but a lot of people in trouble economically here getting thrown out of work, way high debt. So what's going on? Whose fault is this? Whose fault is this? We'll name names when we come back.
News Live, I'm Kieran Chetry. The Taliban and Al-Qaeda are nearly defeated in Afghanistan. Now the major problem of bringing order to the war-torn country is still ahead. Fox's Dan Springer has more on that for us from Kabul.
The first soldiers as part of an international peacekeeping force arrived in Afghanistan Thursday, and they're already dogged by controversy, not only concerning the size of the force, but also the amount of authority it will be given. 53 UK soldiers land at the Bagram airport. They will make it to Kabul, which is about 25 miles away, on Friday. Their first duty will be to protect dignitaries as they drive into Kabul for Saturday's inauguration. The UN Security Council authorized the force for a period of up to 6 months, but the resolution did not clear up the sticky issue of size and the use of force. Britain and the U.S. want 5,000 troops, and they want the soldiers to have the authority to use force if there is a threat. The incoming defense minister of Afghanistan, Mohammed Fahim, said again today that the force should be limited to 1,000 soldiers, and those troops will not have the authority to use force or take weapons from Afghans. Fahim wants the troops to be restricted to bodyguards for the members of the new government. In Kabul, Dan Springer, Fox News.
And that is our update. We'll be back again for you coming up at the top of the hour. The O'Reilly Factor continues after the break.
Are you still playing cell phone roulette while you're driving? What you need is the Copilot Speaker Pro. It's a hands-free speaker phone system that plays through your car's stereo.
Make sure Charlie Mitchell has a chance to review it.
That's right. Now you can turn your cell phone into a hands-free speakerphone with a rich, bold sound of your car stereo.
Guess what, Mommy? My teacher put my drawing up on the blackboard.
Why get tangled up in wires or mess with sticky goo on your dashboard installing some tiny, tinny speaker you can hardly hear? The Copilot Speaker Pro installs in 3 seconds flat, without a single wire, and plays through the big speakers on your car stereo. The universal cradle fits any make and model cell phone. Just plug the one-piece unit into your cigarette lighter and set a car radio button to 96.1 FM. When you get a call, just press that button, and you can talk and listen hands-free. You'll be able to drive safely with both hands on the wheel, no matter how much you use your cell phone. And you'll hear the other party loud and clear through your car stereo.
Yeah, go down to 1355 Riverside, okay?
Got it. When you're done, simply go back to your favorite radio station or tape. Use 2 different cars? The Copilot Speaker Pro can transfer from one car to another as easily as you do. It's the best hands-free speakerphone system you can get, and it's yours for only $29.95. But wait, call now and get this microcharge signal enhancer, a $19.95 value free. Simply stick it on the inside of your cell phone, and you'll enjoy better signal strength than ever. So order your Copilot Speaker Pro now.
To order your Copilot Speaker Pro system, call toll-free 1-800-862-7100 or send check or money order for $29.95 plus shipping and handling to Great Buy USA, P.O. Box 9243, Central Islip, New York. Call now 1-800-862-7100.
Thanks for staying with us. I'm Bill O'Reilly in the second unresolved problem segment tonight. The bad economy. USA is in a recession. We all know that. President Bush wants an economic stimulus package to jumpstart corporate America. House has passed one that would include a tax cut for corporations, extended unemployment benefits, and tax credits for workers who lose health insurance. But it doesn't look like the Senate's going to pass that, as Majority Leader Tom Daschle doesn't like it. With us now is the chairman of the Democratic National Committee, Terry McAuliffe. So it's Daschle against Bush. Who's the villain, right? Now, I know what you're going to say, but...
Hey, this is a corporate welfare bill the Republicans...
Oh, well, yeah, stop it.
So listen,
I want to keep it simple.
You're a populist. We're out there fighting for the people.
And I want the folks to get good representation, not all this political garbage that I see in day out. You know that the reason President Clinton was so successful and popular is because the economy was so strong. And the reason that economy was so strong was that the corporations were buying equipment, investing in research and development, and hiring people, all right? You know that. That's a fact. So why don't you want that to happen again?
Listen, we wanted targeted tax cuts, timely tax cuts. We wanted them to be temporary. We wanted tax cuts to go to small business. Listen, today, Ford is sitting on $13 billion of cash reserves. They just laid off 20,000 people. If you give them more money, that does not mean that people are going to start buying their cars.
All right. So you don't trust the corporations if they get the tax break that Bush wants to give them. You don't trust them to start to buy again, to start to reignite the economy.
They're all sitting on cash. GE is sitting on $9 billion of cash. But to give another $1 billion, Bill, doesn't mean we need consumers. We need people going out buying appliances. We need people buying cars. We don't need to have a big corporate welfare program. And that's the difference.
How are you going to
between our
get
two
people
bills.
to go out and buy the cars if you don't pass an economic stimulus package? How?
We wanted an economic stimulus package. We wanted 50% of ours had tax cuts in it for the people who need it the most.
Yeah, you wanted it downloaded to the people who don't have much money. They're not going to buy the $50,000 cars. They're not going to buy the big computers.
But they are going to buy. They're going to go to that neighborhood grocery store and put money back right into the system.
That's not going to get us out of the recession.
Sure it is. If you have enough people going out buying, allowing the big corporations to have more cash reserves does nothing. We don't need to reward the big campaign contributors. Listen, the fix was in for the start. The Republicans never wanted a bill. Now they're out attacking Tom Daschle.
Wait a minute. How can you say the Republicans didn't want a bill when the House of Representatives, Republican-dominated, passed the version, passed it?
Their bill was corporate welfare. It had an alternative minimum tax in it that went back that went back retroactively 15 years. It also said, okay, we'll extend health care benefits and we'll do it as a tax credit. But you know what? The people who are affected don't pay any taxes because they don't have any money coming in. And you know what? They won't even apply till later part of 02.
What this comes down to is that you don't believe in supply-side economics, then. You don't believe that corporate America drives the economic machine. You don't believe that.
I think in the economic situation we're in today, it has to be consumer-driven.
All right.
A lot of people are out of work. 2 million people out of work since January 20th. We got to help them get confidence back. They go out, start buying.
Well, when you say we got to help them, that means you're going to give them money, see? And that comes out of the pockets of working Americans. Every time you give somebody something, somebody pays for that.
Listen, the Republicans had the biggest giveaway of money in that House bill that you've ever seen. Ours is targeted to go to the people who need it. Ours was also targeted to small business for plant and equipment investment. Huge tax rebates for small. Listen, 90% of our business is small business.
All right.
Those are the people
who
need help.
Philosophical difference.
Philosophical. Consumers versus
corporations. Right.
That's your difference.
So it seems to me that if people cared about the country and not just politics, power politics, that they would meet in the middle. They would meet in the middle. But Daschle doesn't even want to put it up on the floor.
There are not the votes to pass what we need. We're not.
So why doesn't he put it up and bat it around like we're batting it around here? So you're going to get nothing, and everyone's going to suffer. Everyone's going to suffer because you pinheads in Washington, both parties, are more interested in your party.
I'm from Syracuse.
It doesn't matter. You're a Democrat.
Right.
You're more interested in blaming. Hey,
I'm not for blaming.
No, a month ago you were going, well, let's use the Bush recession business, which was the biggest.
I didn't say the Bush.
Come on, I got internal memos from the DNC saying we're going to call it the Bush recession. You know that's true. Don't give me that.
Listen, Bill, they walked out of the White House 2 months ago. 2 months ago, the Democrats and the Republicans. George Bush does well. He's got a 90% approval rating. We got airline security. We've got a homeland security bill because we worked together.
That's right.
And you know what? It fell apart on this bill. We could not come together because it's a difference of opinion of who should get the money. President Bush went and spoke to the House caucus yesterday. Do you know he didn't even mention the economic stimulus bill? I just found it astounding. Now all they want to do is blame.
They do. Everybody wants you want to blame the president.
Memos out about the Senate.
Tom Daschle.
Tom Daschle.
All right, and I understand that, and it just makes me furious. Now look,
I agree with you.
I don't understand why you guys can't say, okay, we'll compromise. We'll give the corporations a bit of a tax break, and then we'll bring up the poorer people in America. We'll give them a little bit more incentive, a little bit cash. Why can't that happen?
It should have happened. And they should have, instead of trying to do on the extension of the health care benefits, talk about a tax rebate, which meant nothing. If they could have worked with us and really got some money out there for the extension of health care benefits, we could have worked together. We could have had a bill. We got close on this
big government spending, though. I mean, come on. This bill is already budgeted at $90 billion the way it is. $90 billion the way it is. You guys want to double that.
The House bill for the Republicans that they talked about yesterday was $200 billion. What are you talking about? It's your Republicans who want to spend
the House
money.
passed the bill that it's $90 billion. That seems reasonable to me.
Yesterday, they tried to do a bill for $200 billion. As you know, the conservatives in the Congress walked away from it.
Well,
they couldn't even get the House to come out with a new bill because they knew they made a mistake on the alternative minimum tax. Let's go back 15 years retroactively. These corporations are sitting on huge cash reserves, Bill.
That's because
Let's
they're
help
afraid.
People spend it. Let's spend the cash together. Let's not give them another billion.
They're not going to spend the cash in this kind of a climate. They're going to sit on it, get the interest, and keep their stockholders.
We need to get people working today. We need to get money to people today to get things going. Their bill gave $254 million back to Enron. You think that is going to get economic stimulus to give Kenley and Enron
the Enron thing
more
we're
business?
looking at. But if you think that giving money directly to poor Americans so they can run down to the grocery
Don't say poor. It's not, these are working families. These are these are people who've lost their jobs. Hard-working people.
That's
Don't say poor.
That's right.
These are hard-working Americans who have lost their jobs. No fault of their own.
Mr. McCobb, there are people who do not pay federal tax, okay? They're below the federal tax level. They don't pay any money to the federal government.
Why are those 2 million people there today? Right. They have lost their job through no fault of their own. You cannot blame those people, Bill, because of September 11th, who've lost their job. I don't call them poor people. There are people who have lost their job through no fault of their own. Those are the people who should be protected.
You're not going to get the economy going by creating a bigger welfare state. You're not. I know the corporations are greedy, but you've got to work with them.
Together.
You got to work with them. Don't demonize them like you're doing.
I'm not demonizing.
Sure you are.
They don't need more money. Listen, I'm in the upper tax bracket. I'm going to do fine. You want to give me more tax breaks right now? I don't actually need them. You know what? I don't need them. There are other people who need them, Bill. Not for me. The people who need money.
I don't want any more money for the rich.
Hey,
I want the folks to get some kind of relief, and right now they're not. Right. Nice to see you, Mr. McCall. Thanks for coming in.
Great to be with you, Bill. Right.
Next, one of our guys in Afghanistan is just back with some eye-opening war stories in just a few moments.
David Lee Miller. Greg Malkoff.
Andy Kellogg.
William Largeness. Steve Harrigan. Fox News. Internet. No time left for you. On my way to better things. I got no time.
Why do 63% of Americans think financial institutions aren't interested in helping them? Maybe because they aren't. With H&R Block Financial Advisors, now everyone can have access to smart financial advice. You get investments, financial services, and retirement planning, all on your terms.
Hi, I'm Rick from Empire Glass. Let Empire Glass replace your cracked windshield and will now pay up to $100 of your comprehensive insurance deductible. And will now give you 24 free dinners to Sherry's, the Northwest's #1 family restaurant and bakery, with any windshield replacement. So for the highest in quality windshields, including up to $100 off your comprehensive deductible and 24 free dinners to Sherry's, call Empire Glass today at 251-9881. When you think glass, think Empire.
Do you have jewelry you don't wear because you don't have time to have it fixed or know who to trust to do the work? We're here to help. We're Fast Fix Jewelry Repair, America's jewelry repair professionals in Clackamas Town Center. Custom repair and engraving in less than an hour. Jewelers on duty every day. Watch us work or shop while you wait. Brides and grooms, get your ring sized and shop from our large selection of wedding gift engravables. We even have sterling silver ID and baby bracelets.
We're America's jewelry repair professionals. Fast Fix Jewelry Repair.
Kind of like your plumbing medic. You got an overflow problem? You need us out there now. Rescue Rooter. It's a plumbing emergency, and we're the rescue operation. Rescue Rooter. We're on the way. I like to practice. Timing's important. Get there in under 60 minutes. That's our goal. Get in, get wet, get out. Simple bad things. Rescue Rooter. We don't charge extra on weekends. Rescue Rooter. We take pride in helping people. That's what it's all about.
Look, you said you were sending the check last week. This thing is 90 days past due. What's the story?
This is the daycare center. Your check for last week was returned, and,
I'm afraid they've asked us to keep your credit card. I'm sorry, but...
The man at the grocery store says he can't...
We're here to pick up a TV set, serial number X71...
my check at the cleaner.
When you can't pay your bills, there is a way out.
Call Solutions today. 1-800-634-2227.
Back at the book segment tonight, To Live and Die in Afghanistan. With us now is Fox News correspondent Steve Harrigan, who is just back after 3 long months in that very sad country. Well, we're glad you're back safe.
Thank you, Bill.
Tell us what life is like for you over there? I mean, there's not a hotel to stay in when you're up in with the Northern Alliance, right?
That's right. There's no electricity, no TV, no radio. Everything's made of dirt, so you live in a dirt house. There's no distractions.
Okay. When you say you live in a dirt house,
right.
Who owned that house?
I don't know who originally owned it, but Northern Alliance soldiers took it over.
And
so
you slept on a floor or what?
Slept in a sleeping bag on the floor.
Mm-hmm. Do they have electricity in the house?
No, the whole place didn't have electricity. No one had electricity. No, you go out in the field to go to the bathroom.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, what did you carry with you? You had a cell phone, obviously, a call.
Cell phone,
right?
a video phone, cash, and a sleeping bag and clothes.
Where'd you eat?
We ate in the room. They'd made us rice and beans just about every day.
Rice and beans?
Three times a day. 3 guys in a small room.
So it was 3 guys in the house?
Yeah.
Okay. When you were out there, did you feel that these guys were trustworthy, or they could turn on you, or there's a sense of danger?
I felt that they were tricky. There was negotiations going on. We were paying them for the room. They wanted to keep us there as long as possible. They actually didn't want us to know about Kabul falling because they wanted to keep taking the rent.
The dollars.
Yeah.
And then you were paying a translator, too.
Right.
Was he trustworthy?
He was, and then he started working for another correspondent for Fox, who offered him a little more.
Is that right? So you got outbid by your own guys?
I'm not sure how it happened.
How did you travel around? So you had to get down from the north to Kabul. How'd you get there?
Russian Jeep. A tough road. 3 days, day and night.
So you just nonstop in a Jeep?
Nonstop with Mr. Abdul behind the wheel.
Who owned the Jeep?
He did. He bought a new one with the money he made, too.
All right, so you paid him to just drive you down there.
We paid him, and the rate went up the higher the altitude went.
Is that right?
Every deal I made there changed halfway through.
Now, would they feel embarrassment by shaking you down, or would they...
I don't think they see it as a shakedown. They see, let's see how far we can push this guy.
Right.
And everybody did it the same way.
But you had to be careful, because if you said, hey, I'm not paying you anymore, they're going to throw you right out, right?
Yeah.
Because everybody had guns.
Everybody had guns, nobody had money. We had no guns, we had money.
Well, Geraldo had a gun. Huh? So you didn't have one.
I don't know how to shoot.
Okay, but I would have just had one just in case, because it was dangerous. You could have been ambushed at any time, correct?
Yeah. Our own guards hinted around that it's a dangerous ride back to Pakistan. We need a bonus.
Okay, so you had armed guards that you paid.
By the end, we had 12. 2 of them had wooden legs. I think it was more like a social welfare program for the local village elder.
Do you have any affection for these people of this country at all?
The climate's beautiful. The terrain is beautiful. Blue skies every day. It was nice to see. But, you know, I'm happy to get out of there alive and no desire to go back.
Right. People are basically primitive, right?
I don't know if the people are primitive. The conditions are unbelievable. I mean, you walk into a town, you think it's an archaeological dig, and then you see people are living there.
I always said that people get the government they deserve. That you have 24 million Afghans and a couple of thousand fanatical Taliban.
You know what? I totally don't buy that. No one deserves 20 years of warfare. A 19-year-old guy doesn't know how to read. And what did he do to deserve that? 19 years of warfare.
But if they would just look at life in a way that we're not going to put up with this, we're going to organize, we're going to have a sensible society, other countries have done that.
Well, I don't know.
They're all fighting among themselves, right? They all hate each other.
They are, but what are you going to do when you don't know how to read? All you've got is a gun. It's been fighting your whole life.
I might learn how to read if I didn't know.
Well,
I might try to learn how to read. I'm just a self-reliant person. Now, in the future...
You know, I'd like to put you in Afghanistan and see how far that self-reliance goes. I think that's making a tremendous demand on people to say that.
They put me in El Salvador, and they put me in Argentina when there was riots going on, and they put me in a lot of other places, and I made it. But the fact of the matter is, I didn't feel compassion for people who allowed terrible things to happen around them. I always said, hey, you got to take it, and sooner or later, you got to take a stand.
I disagree with you. You go over there, you're born there, in that kind of climate, the odds are 1,000,000,000 to 1 against you.
Yeah.
I mean, what, 1 out of 4 babies don't make it to age 5.
It's true.
Is it because they're not self-reliant? No, it's because
it's not the baby's fault. It's the adult's fault.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but you know, you've been on Mean Streets, and so have I. It's an interesting world. Well, glad you're back safe, Steve.
Thank you.
Okay, cheers. Next, we'll wrap things up, the most ridiculous item of the day and some of your mail. And here's another greeting from our troops overseas watching us on the Armed Forces Network.
This message is for Martin Carrizo. We just wanted to wish him a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We wish you were here. Please take care and know that we're thinking
when pliers won't grip, ratchets won't click, and wrenches won't fit, you just have to quit. No way! Introducing the squeeze wrench. It works in virtually any space and fits any place. Look, in this tight space, an ordinary wrench can't turn. But with the squeeze wrench, you can easily tighten with no trouble at all. A simple squeeze of the handle accelerates the squeeze wrench to tighten or loosen standard and metric nuts and bolts. Now easily tighten a ceiling fan blade, repair a barbecue grill, or install a light fixture where no other tool has gone before. If you can squeeze toothpaste, you can operate the squeeze wrench. You can even reach a bolt behind the oven without moving it. The secret is internal ratchet action that allows you to get power in impossible places, like behind a door handle or in between a crib. Watch, this handheld driver gives you limited power, but the squeeze wrench is over 3 times more powerful on the same bolt. Now adjust a rusty lawnmower, install a garage door opener, or tackle any tough automotive job. Hey, stop busting your knuckles with a regular screwdriver, because the squeeze wrench comes with these screwdriver attachments. Now any hidden screw is easy to get to. Why spend hundreds on tools when all you need is the squeeze wrench? During this special TV offer, you get the squeeze wrench, 5 metric socket inserts, and 4 standard socket inserts, this 1/4-inch bit adapter, and 2 screwdriver bits, all for only $19.95. But it gets better. As a bonus, we'll include this compact carry case to store your squeeze wrench in the kitchen, workshop, or trunk. Yours free. The squeeze wrench comes with an incredible lifetime replacement warranty. If it ever breaks, wears, or fails, we'll replace it free for life. No questions asked. So order now.
Credit card customers call 1-800-351-1800 to order your squeeze wrench for just $19.95 and receive the bonus carry case free, or send check or money order to this address. We also accept checks by phone, so call 1-800-351-1800.
This weekend,
too many Americans are hurting, are worried about their jobs. People need help.
Your job, your money, is your financial security in jeopardy? In tough times, stay with the #1 team in business, the team you can trust. Saturday, the road to recovery, the stocks that could stop you cold, and tips on maximizing your yield on bulls and bears. Then on Cavuto on Business, insults and more insults.
You calling me Elvis?
Cavuto versus O'Reilly. This won't be pretty. War on Terror, the cost of freedom, a Fox News business special.
Time now for the most ridiculous item of the day. It was a big bash last night at the White House, and your humble correspondent, that's me, was on the scene along with most of the National Press Corps. It was the annual Christmas party for the press, so nearly everyone was invited, including Alan Colmes. And that impressed me. The Bush administration seemingly doesn't hold grudges the way the Clintons did. Alan's no fan of Mr. Bush, but there he was, munching shrimp cocktail alongside Matt Lauer and Wolf Blitzer. If I had tried to crash the Clinton Christmas party, I'd be in Leavenworth right now doing a strong time, and that, of course, would be ridiculous. Finally, tonight, the mail. About the firing of Professor Sammy Al-Arian at the University of South Florida, Rhonda Burnham, St. Petersburg, Florida. O'Reilly, it appears to me that you might be backpedaling on the man. We don't need another investigation. His own words and associations are enough to warrant his dismissal. Well, I disagree, Miss Burnham. You don't sack a tenured professor for saying stuff you don't like. Professor Al-Arian should receive due process and a thorough investigation. Peter Cornwell, Austin, Texas. Hey, Bill, I can't understand why our government has not questioned Sammy. Also, why hasn't Governor Jeb Bush done something? I don't have the answers for you, Mr. Cornwell. It's a very strange situation that Florida authorities want to go away. That's why they're firing him. I suspect an investigation would embarrass the state of Florida. Bobby Hilleman, Orlando, Florida. Are you proud of yourself now, O'Reilly? Your biased interrogation has led to the dismissal of Professor Al-Arian. His crime, free speech. There's nothing biased about our report on the professor. As always, we presented the facts. Patty Casey, Grand Rapids, Michigan. Bill, I love the factor, but you should have approached the Al-Arian story with a little more tact. Your harsh words about the university stirred the pot. So what, Miss Casey? That pot needed to be stirred. Remember, the factor's a no-spin zone. Tact, not part of that. About the man who lost his brother at the World Trade Center but opposes our military campaign against the Taliban. Melissa McLeod, Atlanta. Bill, Mr. Potorti does not understand that it was the USA's failure to respond with military force to the escalating terrorism that led to 9/11. We embolden terrorists if we do nothing. John Cummins, Richland, Washington. I have sympathy for Mr. Potori losing his brother, but if we don't bring the terrorists to justice, other families will suffer. We must fight for our freedom. Rich Cairo, Camp Hill, Pennsylvania. O'Reilly, your claim of political neutrality is starting to lose its luster. As a moderate Democrat, I'm seeing a string of people who want to ban Santa Claus, stop the Afghan bombing, and the like. These folks do not represent liberal thinking. Well, nobody said they did, Mr. Cairo, because we're independent. We go after all fallacious thinking, and we don't care what ideology it belongs to. Tim Buckler, Kenner, Louisiana. Bill, you are smug. You're a smart, meticulous, unambiguous guy. Well, thank you, Jim. I'll take that. And Grandma Jackie, Lebanon, Tennessee. O'Reilly, you're so smug, I'd like to give you a hug. Well, I'll take that too, Grandma. Merry Christmas to you. Hey, and how about hugging our website, huh? Just finished a brand new column for WorldNetDaily.com on the attack on Christmas. It's unbelievable what's going on in this country. People want to tear down Christmas. I get it, but I don't like it. So that's what the column's about. All right? How about emailing us with some 50 comments? O'Reilly at FoxNews.com, O'Reilly at FoxNews.com. Name and town, name and town if you wish to opine. We would like to hear from you. That's it for us today. As always, thank you for watching The Factor. I'm Bill O'Reilly. Hope to see you again next time.